We'd both heard of things like this happening. I think we crossed into Idaho last night, but it's hard to say. The highways are disintegrating and our maps are old and outdated. It's all just a best guess, which, needless to say, causes many fights. With the heat, lack of sleep, and rotting garbage piles slowly turning everything to poison, it's hard to keep it together out here. The air feels like it's burning holes into my lungs. Sometimes I think I see a body or two in some charred hillside when I look out the car window, but I don't let myself go there. I have us on track to arrive in Ontario in a day and a half. It's far, but it's the only place I heard we can cross. I knew we'd make it, just as long as Jason doesn't stop to piss every 5 fucking seconds. I swear that man has the smallest bladder on earth, or maybe he's sick. The thought had crossed my mind before. What if we're both sick? It's impossible to keep this mask on all the time out here. We haven't had contact with anyone since we've been gone. You don't talk to strangers on the road. I learned that the hard way. The big scar on my face wouldn't let me forget it. It starts at the base of my left eye and runs down my cheek right to my neck. I wouldn't say I was naive before, just unprepared, reckless. Jason wasn't with me then. We met after that. I was stuck somewhere I shouldn't have been, and he came to my rescue on his shining steeds. He had a steadiness about him I'd never felt before, and over time, his hug became home. It was night now, and Jason pulled over to take a piss again. Our shitty Frankenstein car sputtered to a stop and dust flew up in every direction. He swung the door open and his big boots hit the dirt as he walked outside of my view. I fiddled with our maps for a second, but I couldn't focus. Something just didn't feel right. I turned around to put my eyes on Jason, but he wasn't there. What was taking him so long? Then, out of nowhere, a giant spotlight flooded into the back car windows. I had to squint to see, like I was trapped in a camera flash. I couldn't think. Fuck. What do I do? Then it was dark as night again. Fuck it, I jumped out. If someone was there, I was dead anyways. I ran back to the car and saw Jason just sitting there screaming with his eyes wide open. I quickly flicked on my flashlight and yelled in every direction, "Who's out there? Who the fuck is out there?" I was crying now, touching the scar on my face unconsciously. There was no one. Jason wasn't bleeding or holding any part of his body. Nothing was wrong. What was he doing? He'd been acting weird all week. Maybe he couldn't handle this anymore. I caught myself rolling my eyes. Jesus, when did I get like this? It took him a few hours to calm down, but even when he did, we didn't talk much. What was the point? We'd both heard of things like this happening. Plus, the stiffness was growing between us in a way I couldn't understand exactly, but I knew this was one of those moments in a relationship when you feel yourself start to pull away and can choose to react in one or two ways. Say something or don't say something. We were both just silent. Nothing's forever. I know he was thinking the same. Then I thought about how much worse this could be, like the time they blocked all the roads going east because that fucking lunatic couldn't stop screaming about getting the country back to the way things used to be. They followed his word like scripture. Anything to get control of the uncontrollable. They wanted something they knew deep down was long gone. It was tougher back then. People were more desperate and angry. It all just came so fast. Every day something else fell out of reach. First, it got too expensive to go anywhere. Then you couldn't go online. Then it was impossible to eat right or get gas. Then it got hard to get clean water. Jason says success now is defined by being able to have durable shoes and cleaning your teeth. He jokes, but it's true. Our friend Kim died because her tooth rotted right through her head. 12 hours later, we were in Wisconsin. Jason slept the whole way, a new record, and I was jealous. His own little slice of rebirth. I started to think about all the plans we'd made together before this all set in, building a house surrounded by friends, our kids laughing, our kids' laughter vibrating through the walls, eating a big garden and playing with dirt. Why did I believe it was going to get better? Jason started to violently cough now and woke himself up. Fuck, that was new. He glared at me, looking for some reassurance, but I kept looking forward and ignored the drop of red that stained his lip. We had to keep going. I remember when I used to have to push my feelings really far down so I wouldn't weep all day. Now they just all go to the pit of my stomach and stay there. My grip on the steering wheel loosened as the lakes appeared. We were really close. Jason couldn't stop coughing now, and I needed to get the fuck out of the car. I was tired of him, tired of being with him, tired of believing him, and tired of hanging every single one of my hopes on him. I was tired of all of this. Jason, watching my eyes sob with no tears, reached out to grab my hand. I moved it away. I pulled into a gravel lot and got out to wake up. Everywhere was muddy and the sky was nothingness gray. Jason looked horrible and he was getting worse. He had sweat right through his clothes. I looked up to breathe a little easier and saw something bright green and on fire falling from the sky. It started to take shape the faster it fell, but I couldn't make out what it was. Then there was an awful ringing in the air and too much noise in my head, a flash. I was trying to catch my thoughts like I was trying to hold on to the wind. My eyes rolled into the back of my head, then I lost my balance and puked all over the place. Jason was hovering above me now, trying to throttle his cough so spittles of saliva and blood wouldn't land on my face. What's going on? What are you doing? We stared at each other for what seemed like a lifetime, trading comfort like it was currency. Our trips weren't like this before. Jason grabbed the keys out of my hand and said sternly in his own way, "I'm driving the rest of the way." Then I turned over, shut my eyes, and wished I was back in time when you could feel full no matter what, when you could buy yourself a few seconds of splendor and peace regardless of who or where you were. But that was all a setup, I guess. I woke up to Jason stumbling out of the front seat of the car and falling into someone's arms. He coughed a pool of blood onto the driveway like he'd been holding on to it for hours. I opened the car door. Someone was running towards me. It was my mother. I heard her say, "I've been so worried after I read your letter." I shook my head like I had water stuck in my ears. Things got blurry after that. I remember the bright lights, people shouting, a soft touch, shaking voices, a crowd gathering, but my eyes wouldn't stay open. Each blink tried to stave off the darkness, but my eyelids just couldn't take the weight. After what felt like weeks of dreaming, I opened my eyes with a nothing expression. My mom was above me. "Honey." I was in pain. "I'm so sorry to tell you, but Jason is dead. His lungs, they couldn't." My heartbeat drowned out her reassuring cadence. I blinked. "No, he can't." Memories of Jason flew by like I could touch him with my fingertips. I hid my face. I felt like I was choking. My mom didn't say anything after that. We'd both heard of things like this happening. I was relieved to finally made it out, but waves of shame passed through me. Nothing was ever going to be the same. I was never going to be the same. I started to cough.